IGN Game Scoop.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to IGN Game Scoop. I'm your host, Damon Hatfield. This is Greg Miller.
Hey.
This is Colin Moriarty.
Yep.
This is Justin Davis.
It's good you weren't sure there for a second.
Is it Rich?
Yeah, we were just
tell.
talking about Rich and other names and Anthony and whatnot. We're about to talk about Valve's big picture mode here. This is Steam on your TV here. And
So what's the big picture with
well,
this?
hold on. Get a little bit.
Game
I'm Justin
Scoop.
Davis.
That's all the scoops we have for you today. A little bit, we're going to be talking about Sony and Bethesda and Skyrim on PS3
Okay.
and the DLC for that. Colin, I know you have a lot to say on this subject.
Oh, I do. I have a lot to say about
So
a lot of
stay
subjects.
tuned, folks, for the news story you don't care about.
No, first, this big picture mode. This is big news because a long time, Valve has been rumored to be working on a console for a long time. And apparently, this is sort of their first step. They're like testing the waters right now. They've unveiled big picture mode for Steam. This is Steam for your TV. You have to hook up your PC to your TV.
Yeah.
And then it's sort of a redesigned Steam to work better in your TV setup. To control with your Xbox controller, there's like a Lotus design. There's a Lotus design for typing on your TV.
The typing thing seems really cool. It's obviously you don't want to mess around with like how Xbox and PlayStation make you type out words with your controller, and it's kind of a pain. They invented this. I don't know if they invented it or if they're using a system that sort of already existed. But you use your dual analog sticks to like push in one of the 8 directions, like either a diagonal or one of the 4 cardinal directions, and then from there you press color, on your controller for what letter you want to type. And it sounds sort of weird, but they insist that like people, once you figure out how it works, you get really fast at it and you have all access to all 26 letters within 2 clicks. And that Lotus sort of controller setup seems really slick to me.
And then you can use Steam on your PC, on your TV, play all of your Steam games on your TV. And then there's a web browser. I don't know if it's their own browser, but there's a way to browse the web on your TV that using your Xbox controller that's supposed to be very fluid and easy to navigate.
So this is in beta right now. It's not live yet. I can't.
Beta goes today. I don't know how you get into the beta.
Okay.
IGN's news story does not provide this information.
I want to do it because I have the gaming PC at work and the gaming PC at home, and both go into my TVs. I don't have a monitor dedicated to them.
Oh,
so this is right at my alley.
Because that was going to be my question. In order for this to be convenient, you have to have a situation where this PC is always connected to your TV.
Yeah.
You don't want to be carrying it back and forth,
No.
right? Like that's not very convenient.
That's
Yeah,
what
I
you
mean,
want.
I wouldn't read too much into this. There are a lot of rumors about a Steam console. I think this is more, they're just recognizing how people are using Steam today. I played through all of Darksiders on Steam with my Xbox controller. Like, I don't really think, the PC is just kind of like another console now. Most games have Xbox controller support, or if they don't, you can sort of, use some hacky ways to get controllers working. And I played Darksiders that way. I think I played Just Cause 2 that way. And I've played a bunch of games that instead of getting them on the Xbox, I got them on Steam for like $5. And then, but I don't want to use mouse and keyboard. I'm not that wild about it for anything besides FPS. So,
So what do? You hook up your PC to your TV and leave it there?
I mean, I just use the controller. I plugged the USB. I used USB.
I know, but if you were going to use big picture mode.
Sure. I mean, what cable do you have?
HDMI.
Yeah.
I use an HDMI.
Yeah. So it's like for a setup like that, like maybe this is sort of more rumblings that they're going to do a Steam console and this and that. But I think it's more just recognizing how many people are already using controllers and sort of playing on their couch anyway. So. And the user interface is very, like I have a Mac and I can go into Media Center to browse my media, and that's sort of meant for like big picture. And so the revised user interface is just sort of like people aren't clicking around with the mouse. They need to come up with some different way to like access your
Bigger
content.
icons too. The icons are so small on my TV right now.
Exactly.
So Greg Coomer is the head of big picture mode at Valve. He says, what we really want is to ship big picture mode and then learn. We want to find out what people value about that, how they make use of it, when they make use of it, whether it's even a good idea for the broadest set of customers or not, and then decide what to do next. So it could be that the thing that really makes sense is to build a Steam console, but we really don't have a roadmap. And we think we're going to learn a tremendous amount through this first release.
That was so awesome. They
I
basically,
know, right?
They get to do
They're
whatever
the
they
coolest.
want. They're like, we're just doing this thing.
I know, man.
Maybe you like it, maybe you don't.
Got them PC games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Colin, you've been on the record saying PC games are dumb games for babies.
Yeah.
That's still how you feel
Yeah.
today.
No, that's fine. I mean,
know.
there are PC games that
the kid.
I like and or love, and
You
I'm looking
you
forward.
love that Civilization.
Civilization 5 was probably one of my most played games, like I would say, this generation.
Yeah.
And SimCity, I think, is going to be
I can't wait.
another example of a game.
The whole
where
reason I bought this freaking waste of money.
But I don't want to play games on PC. It's just not my thing. If they make it easier, like what we're talking about, this step forward to putting on a TV, then that's a different story. But I want to play it in front of a PC with them, and I definitely want to play with a mouse and a keyboard. So I mean, I know you can play most games with a controller, but not all.
Damon's your thing. Your thing is always you want to lean back to play games.
I want
you don't
that
lean forward
couch,
to play
which
games.
is sort of what they're trying to
Yeah.
accommodate here. The issue is I still don't have a gaming PC though at home. You know.
But if you did, I mean,
if I did,
is this something you would be interested in?
Interested
that's what's holding
yes,
you back right
but
now.
like
right?
I'd have to I'd have to buy I'd have to make a considerable investment, buy a gaming PC that will be more expensive than a console, and then set that up next to my TV and just use it as my Steam box. So why doesn't Steam just put out a Steam console?
They will. I mean, this is clearly R&D in the wild for them, which is kind of cool.
But it's cool the way they're handling it. Like you said, Valve is so awesome.
And it's cool that they're very transparent. They're like, yeah, maybe we'll do a console. We don't know.
Yeah.
And like, I believe them. I don't believe that they're like, usually when companies make statements like that, I feel like it's all like wiggle words and they're trying to like get around saying anything. But with Steam, for some reason, I totally believe that they're just like messing around and doing what they want to do. Valve's awesome.
I started playing the original Portal again this weekend. It's so brilliant. It's
What brought you
genius.
back there?
Kim. Checking out. Or she's always looking for a new game. We finished Walking Dead episode 3.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Colin, do you play those games?
I'm waiting for them all to come out.
Oh, you're just gonna play them all
Yeah.
once.
I'll
Have you
play
been
them
able
all.
to avoid like spoilers?
Yeah.
You live with this guy who's reviewing. Like,
I just
the
yell
Yeah, Greg and I
all the
don't really
time.
talk to each other when we're home.
No?
No. I stay in
It's
my
actually
room.
it's funny. Colin and I we work in the same team. We live in the same house, and like probably a good 3 weeks into that living situation, it just broke the friendship, and we just hate each other.
I don't think
we
you
just
hate each
no.
other.
No, I mean, Greg stays in the living room, and I usually stay in my bedroom, and we just play games.
Or you're in the kitchen making polenta or
Yeah.
whatever. I don't even know.
I made Hoppin' John this weekend. It was awesome.
What is Hoppin' John?
Whew, I'll tell you what. So I was watching Boardwalk Empire, and they were
That's
Great
Great-
show.
great show,
Comes
great
back
show.
this Sunday.
and they were talking about this dish, which is apparently like an old West African dish, made of black-eyed peas and rice and some vegetables and stuff like
Hoppin'
that.
John?
So
Is that West African dish?
Yeah, they made, and I guess it was brought over with the slaves or whatever, and it was a huge in the South. And
That's probably where they picked up the name Hoppin' John.
And yeah, so there's all these. So anyway, there was this character that kept mentioning the dish, and I'm like, what the fuck? Ooh, sorry, what the hell?
No, that's okay.
Okay.
You can.
So I was on my iPad when I was watching the show, and I looked it up, and it was this great dish with this awesome Southern and African heritage, or whatever. So I went to the store and got all the ingredients, all the dishes. You got some green peppers, some red peppers, some onion, rice, black-eyed peas, and bacon. A whole package of bacon. You cut up the bacon really
You're making
fine.
me very hungry right
Yeah.
now.
It took hours to make, and it was awesome. It was
Smelled really good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did
it
you eat it?
No.
He doesn't like-
share with you? Or?
It was,
No,
it was
I know what he doesn't
totally
like.
an offer, but I don't like peppers. I don't like beans, and it looked like soup.
You
And,
don't like-
I don't like.
Oh,
I
this
can't-
is a thing.
I don't eat soups. I can-
Wait, what?
Greg does not like soup.
You don't eat soup?
I eat I love mini wheats, as you might have picked up on, but I eat mini wheats dry. I can't deal with liquids and solids coming together, with notable exceptions. There are many exceptions to this rule,
But in general, yeah.
Majorly, yes. Anything that looks like diarrhea or vomit.
He doesn't like when I
can't
leave
eat.
a mayonnaise covered spoon in the sink. I do that
It's
often.
true.
Really?
Just to see
He'll
what
put
it
these,
is.
he'll
Can
put
you
these
do
dishes
dishes?
in with. I power through them. It's one of those phobias you have. You like actively work, but
So,
he'll
like-
leave like giant globs of mayonnaise and ketchup on the thing, and it's just like
The mayonnaise,
like wash
the
it
mayonnaise
off.
touches the water, and then you're
Yeah, I start doing like, and then like we have the little strainer that catches all the leftover food that you gotta go
Oh,
take
that's
and
the
dump
worst.
out. It's like,
You would have hated.
oh brother, I don't know about this.
My first job was at a ball field at the concession stand, and there was a grill and everything. And every once in a while, I had to wash the nacho cheese bins in the sink.
Oh,
Like,
man.
You would have hated that.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
smell.
Oh yeah, no,
really
that's not
bad.
good.
But with a family comes responsibility.
Need something, Paul?
You'll need to carefully raise your children, all while protecting your homestead from skeever infestations and those pesky neighborhood giants.
Colin, give
Yeah.
us some backstory on Skyrim and PS3 and the DLC.
Jesus.
And
A long
what
road.
Bethesda
Where do we
is
begin?
Long road.
Because today we have a comment from Sony saying they're working with Bethesda,
Yeah, and
trying to get it working.
And we knew this was interesting because we knew that because Bethesda said that they were working with Sony too. So like this is, I guess, Sony just clarifying that they are indeed working with Bethesda. The long and short of it is that Skyrim doesn't work well on PS3. It never has. Bethesda clearly knew about it. They didn't even give us didn't even give us review copies until after the game came out. So they knew there were problems with it, obviously. And then they were patching it slowly, and it was, I guess, getting better and better. I played it for 25 hours and didn't run into any extreme
Have you played it
problems.
recently, or?
No, I stopped playing it in protest, to be honest. I was solidarity with my PlayStation 3 brothers
you
and
go.
sisters out there.
That was the thing, right? Is that it was very hit or miss. We for a long time in the office we couldn't replicate the problems, and then Megan Sullivan started running into them. And this is just with regular Skyrim where it would get really framey and it wouldn't work anymore.
Wouldn't it also get worse and worse and worse over time? So
Right.
it's like hard.
Well,
to
the problem
find
was it was all about allocation
It's about
of
the save file, right? The bigger your save
Yeah,
file was.
Yeah, it has to do with the save file, and like so, PlayStation 3 has 512 megs of RAM, and half of it must be used for graphics, which means the other half can be used in whatever way they want, which is I'm not gonna I don't want to get too technical. I'm sure these are not the right terms, but like resource management with everything else.
Sure.
Yes, yeah, things of this nature, collecting objects and things of this nature. On Xbox 360, you can allocate the same amount of RAM in any way you can and in any way you want. So like the game just runs better because they're able to, I guess, keep up with the nature of the open world and like the things you're dropping, the doors you're opening, the people you're killing, all these things. But the longer and more you do that in the PS3 version, the harder it becomes to run the game.
It's trying to remember where all your heads
Trying
of
to
lettuce
remember
are.
everywhere you've dropped a wheel of cheese.
You got these cheese wheels all over the place. In the game, the PlayStation just freaks out.
It's just the way the architecture on the two consoles are built, and Xbox runs the game better because they don't have to use half of the RAM for graphics.
Bethesda's background is in PC games.
Yeah.
So
what I really want to know, what's really brass tacks here, who's to blame?
Bethesda.
Okay.
They should have never put the game out on PlayStation 3 if it wasn't going to run right. And yeah, I mean, Greg and I talk about it. I mean, we're PS3 first gamers. That's what we enjoy. It would have sucked to not have that game on our console. We would have found a way to play it on another console. Obviously, that would have sucked for Sony, but
we would have found a way to play it on another. We would have gone to the store and bought it on 360.
There's a way. When there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
And to me, I think it's clearly Bethesda's fault. I don't think they've been treating PlayStation gamers with any respect. They've been getting patches late. They were not communicating with them about what was going on when the game came out. They're not communicating with them until recently about what's going on with the DLC. They're basically just treating PlayStation gamers like second-rate consumers.
It strikes me as not so much as like they're actively going out of their way to be bad to PS3, just as much as they don't understand that hardware. And now it's become, after all the problems popped up that they knew about, I'm sure, but not like to maybe the extent they did. All this stuff pops up when you're 50 hours into the game that it's totally run. They start working on that problem and they get to this point, the graphics and the RAM, and they know that, and it's kind of like that's the end of the road. Like, what do I do about that? Like, how do we fix that? And they run scenarios on what they can do and how they can possibly fix it. And they're just coming back every time saying like, there's nothing we can do.
And that's fine, but they should just say that. And that's basically what they've said now. Is they basically said like, we don't even know if we can fix this problem.
A couple weeks ago, they came out about Dawnguard.
Yeah, it was awesome to say that 9 months after the game came out. It would have been nice to say that, I don't know, a month after the game came out.
It has been a long time.
9 months in, now you can't fix the problem. I mean, like, I love Bethesda. Fallout 3 and is like one of my favorite games of all time and stuff like that, but I have lost a bit of respect for them in terms of the fact that they've just not been communicating with PlayStation gamers. That game obviously sold hundreds of thousands of copies on PS3.
That communication is key. Like Skyrim's a very, very complicated game. They're deploying it on multiple consoles, so not that they get a free pass, but I can understand how something like this could happen. Like we at IGN, I had someone tweet at me one time and say, "Oh, this article doesn't look right on my Android phone." Yeah. And I'm like, "Well, I don't understand. Like, it looks right on my iPhone. It looks right on the web." And so when you have lots of different things going on, stuff can go wrong, but they need to own it and own up to it.
That's exactly right. Yeah, I have no problem with that. I have no problem that there was a problem. If they figured it out afterwards, if they were like, we didn't see it in QA, this is obviously not a problem that occurs for everyone, like we just said, but it is a problem, and we were really sorry, and we're going to work to get you this DLC, and we won't even charge you for it. Something like that, like where it's like, we are going to make it happen. And what they're basically saying is this problem is so overwhelming, this problem that no other developers run into, by the way, that we can't make this happen. And so we can't fix it.
But no other developer has that many cheese wheels in their game.
This is the thing I was saying, though, is like, why can't they just, I'm not a programmer, but just say like, we have to shut things off. Like, we can't save what doors you left open. We can't save what, maybe certain items we'll know that you took, but like if you took this cabbage, we're not going to save that, and the cabbage will be there when you go back.
Unlimited cabbage, that's the problem.
It just seems like you have to make concessions. It's very disappointing. I feel bad for people. Like, I don't care that much because I have no intention of really going back and playing the game now, but there are plenty of people that dumped a lot of time in, got the Platinum Trophy, are waiting for that DLC, never going to get it. They're getting basically an inferior product for the same amount of money.
What it reminds me of, is a much longer timeline of the PlayStation Network hack. We knew something was wrong. We didn't tell you. Now we come to you hat in hands. It almost, and maybe I'm wrong, and this isn't exactly what's happening, but it almost seems like Bethesda's taking this wait and see, not say anything approach because they know it's been a long time. So you're gonna forget. You're gonna move on to other games. You're not gonna be like, oh wait, yeah, I've been waiting for this DLC. I've been waiting for Dawnguard. What the hell is going on with that? You know what I mean?
Game Scoop never forgets.
and people
have you forgot?
The thing is that people aren't gonna forget. I'm really worried. Fallout 4. We don't really know anything about it. We know, I guess, it somewhat exists somewhat. We don't know. It's probably on the same engine. It's probably going to be this generation or whatever. And like, how is that game going to run?
You expect Fallout 4 this generation?
Yeah, I don't think it'll be out before the next consoles, but I don't think they're going to abandon that engine. Yeah. Personally, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like they're like, this is we can get more out of this.
Now it gives you pause. Now you're like, well,
yeah, exactly. And it's like, well, don't even release it on PS3 if it's going to run like that. Even if it's going to run right for 90% of the people, you gotta be worried about that 10% of the people. And I don't blame. There are really angry PlayStation gamers. We hear from them. There are a lot of them. You know,
Just drop those irradiated cabbages, man. Just get rid of them.
Well, it's not. It's got to be.
You're mixing up your two worlds a little bit. The Fallout and the Skyrim.
Okay, I don't know.
It's got to be a business decision, right? Because if they come out and say, "Look, PS3 does not, or Skyrim does not run as well on PS3, and we're never going to get the DLC working," then they lose sales from that, right? So they remain quiet, and they every once in a while say,
and that's why people.
That's
we're still looking into it.
Yeah.
And that's why people are upset, and I don't blame them. Be upset.
The quote we have today, this from Sony's Vice President Adam Boyes.
I assume it's B-O-Y-E-S?
Yes.
Boyes.
He says, we work with all of our partners to try and solve their problems.
Oh.
These are his words. He says, I can't promise any kind of resolution or timeline, but can say that everyone involved is trying their best to get this stuff working.
I love how that quote basically, like between the lines, he's basically saying this shit ain't our fault.
That's
Yeah.
what I took from it.
We didn't make the game.
This was Bethesda's. Was this Bethesda's guy saying?
No, that's
Sony's guy.
Sony.
He's saying their problem specifically.
Yeah, no, well, it is their problem. It's their engine. You know,
Yeah.
like I understand that in terms of RAM allocation, in terms of these grand open worlds, that not everything's as dynamic as Skyrim is. But Fallout 3 didn't run that badly, and there are other open world games that are huge, like Reckoning, that ran beautifully. So with very similar, you know, item allocations, with taking things, leaving things here, opening this door, doing this thing, that game ran fine.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how angry are you about this?
On a personal level, I'm not that angry about it. I mean, I kind of accept it. For like the PlayStation gamer, understanding where they're coming from as a consumer, I'm really angry, and I think they have every right to be angry. Okay. You know, like they're getting an inferior product for the same amount of money. That's something you can be upset about, and that's something you should be upset about. And I don't blame them. And all the people I'm hearing from, more power to you. You know.